So as you know, much of the hype this year has been all about AI. We've talked about the markets, politics, and then the real question is, what does it mean for your job? Let's jump into this topic as the White House is tweeting out today. Panickin's hardest hit. So essentially the markets are going up. And again, this is all based on the AI drive and hype. Trump is also tweeting out, country is now back. Tech stocks, industrial stocks, and NASDAQ all-time high, record high. Crypto through the roof. Nvidia is up 47% since Trump tariffs. So I guess we're celebrating Nvidia today. And even the Nvidia CEO, Jensen Huang, is going to be hanging out with Trump in the White House. And the question is, will Jensen end up being the new Elon Musk? Hanging out on MSNBC. Let's watch the interview of this.
Well, speaking of quite
meteoric
a jump, yesterday your market cap exceeded $4 trillion. First company to do that.
So I noticed that Joe and Mika were fawning over Jensen Huang, like, oh my God, your company's worth so much. And it's actually true. I mean, the market cap is, well, just a tad under 4 trillion. But if you can see the top companies right now in the market, Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Meta. You also got TSM, Broadcom, Saudi Aramco. And then you got Tesla at number 11, JP Morgan, Walmart, Eli Lilly, Visa, Oracle, and Tencent. I just want to show you guys sort of where the money is flowing. So certainly, yes, I would agree it's in tech. But I question like the long-term sustainability of all of this, be it energy needs or what's going to happen to everyone's jobs.
With you before, we were talking about many of the concerns that we and a lot of Americans have about AI, the AI revolution, what it's going to be meaning for the displacement of workers, especially white-collar workers. But you have a very bullish view on AI, the future of AI, and what you think it means in a positive sense. Tell us about that.
In the last year since I've seen you, Joe, the technology has advanced incredibly. In fact, probably the most important advance is that AI is now able to reason. It's able to think. Before, it was able to understand. It was able to generate content. But now it can reason. It could do research. It could go learn about the latest information before it answers the question. And so now it can solve problems that it has never been trained to solve.
So first, I'll push back a bit here. I would question whether or not AI is really advanced as much as Jensen Huang claims. My understanding is it's still the large language models. So basically, it scrubs the internet and puts a bunch of stuff together. So he's claiming more reasoning, and also AI isn't necessarily sort of artificial intelligence in terms of what you think about in the movies of like being a person and thinking and talking with you. AI still struggles with critical thinking. It's not great with dealing with people, emotional intelligence, this kind of stuff. But this is part of breaking through these things, because if you watch much of what the MSNBC interview, Joe and Mika, they're sort of fawning over Jensen Huang and like, oh my God, you got so much money, etc. But they do bring up some of the job stuff, which I think I'll get into in a moment here. The thing is, you have to understand about anything in the media, it's all driven by money, of course, right? Greed is the creed of the USA. This was the big headline just yesterday. Meta Platforms enticed Apple AI executive with $200 million pay package. What the heck? And I think when they're essentially poaching employees from Apple, the question would be, why didn't Apple make a counteroffer? I guess they couldn't, because if they would have, it would have been more pay than Tim Cook, the CEO. And also what they're throwing in here, I guess Meta, is basically this is all based on your performance, hitting certain kind of milestones. But essentially there's a big fight for this stuff. And so Elon Musk is out raising money to try to do this AI stuff. And again, a lot of this is all about replacing your job, which is kind of crazy, because remember, Donald Trump essentially got elected by getting a bunch of people who lost their factory jobs to say, hey, it's all this person's fault, that person's fault. Yet even Donald Trump is replacing or pushing replacement of even more people through this AI. So we're celebrating the markets, which again is a replacement of people with robots.
The plan here for Elon Musk is to integrate its chatbot into Teslas as well.
I mean, look, there is clearly a use case to be made for voice AI inside the Tesla car. But I still think it's too early, given we have seen, Grok as a large language model does hallucinate. In fact, this week there were some instances of the...
So if you know that the CEO over at Twitter just recently quit, this is like basically the day after Grok had a meltdown, regarding violence stuff, regarding Nazi basically kind of stuff. So there's still a lot of problems with this AI things, right? Why AI's Grok went rogue. A lot of it may have to do with who's training said thing, be it Elon Musk, right? Also, you have to understand the dangers of AI. You don't necessarily want it generating certain kinds of content, stuff that I didn't even think about. Like, but when you read this stuff, I'll say I can't even say it on YouTube, but let's just say revolving anything with inappropriate things for work regarding minors or violence, right? These kind of stuff. Also, Musk designed his Grok thing to be, quote, anti-woke and to have a bit of a personality to it. So it says here, Grok is designed to answer questions with a bit of wit and has a rebellious streak. So that's according to Musk what he wants. And so this is a lot of social questions that we have with this and ethical questions that we have, and it's being pushed so quickly. I'm questioning it, but if you watch most of the media, even on YouTube, everyone's all hyping this stuff up. But
technology, of course, is overwhelmingly exciting. It can do bad things, but the things that it could do is overwhelmingly good. Technology is impacting every industry, but one of the most important, interesting things about this technology is that it created a new industry in itself. One of the things that people think that we do is we build computer graphics chips and GPUs, and that's true. But these technologies are going into what is called AI factories. We've invented essentially a new industry for the first time in 300 years. The last time there was an industry like this, it was a power generation industry. Energy would be created and it would transmit electrons.
So if you understand what we're talking about here, and again, Jensen Huang is teamed up with the Trump people, and the promise is that we're going to build all of these AI factories. Some of this money theoretically is coming from the Middle East. I say theoretically because this is all pledges. Remember, this is all pledges. No money's actually changed hands yet. It's all pledges. And I guess after we build these AI factories, you're all going to have a job. but just think about the logic of this, because what's going to end up playing out, and I've told you guys the truth, you can watch my other videos about this, when Trump promises Stargate with Jensen Huang and SoftBank, Masayoshi-san, the basic gist was that they're playing a smoke and mirrors game, because there will be jobs. I promise you, there will be jobs to build the factory. There will be jobs there. And then after the factory is built, all the people who build the factory will basically get laid off. And then there'll be a few jobs, yes, making chips and stuff like that. But overall, those chips are designed to replace you as the worker. Like, am I the only one that sees this obvious sort of dilemma and problem? Like, we're sort of accelerating, replacing ourselves the same way as that there'll certainly be jobs out there, which I actually met someone in LA that did this when I lived there, that they were training workers to train chatbots to replace customer service people, right? Essentially, again, you're training these robots to replace people.
I think it may discover new technologies as soon as later this year. And I would be shocked if it has not done so next year. So I would expect Grok to, literally discover new technologies that are actually useful no later than next year, and maybe end of this year. And it might discover new physics next year. And within 2 years, I'd say almost certainly. So just let that sink in.
Let that sink in as we just sit there and just ponder.
Yeah.
So that's much of how this hype is sold, right? That basically the people are like, oh, Elon's really rich, so he must be right. And it's been cascading like that. And you have this generation of people who don't have critical thinking, who don't understand any of this stuff anyway, who can't see through this whole con game. I can see it, and I hope you guys can see it as well for this thing. But you have to understand how this implies to the markets. So when you invest in a company and you invest in stocks, et cetera, the basic bet is that there's going to be more profits in the future. That's the bet, right? You say, I bet that this company is going to grow. And so Musk, to his credit, he's a master of hyping up something next year, right? It's always next year. And so, oh, okay, I'll buy your company because it sounds great next year. And so now we're switching from cars to suddenly now we're building robots and AI, because next year they're going to invent all this new technology. But again, this technology is the whole basic idea, even if it works. So let's pretend it works, okay? Which it doesn't today. It's not nearly what they're promising, but let's pretend it works. It's designed to replace you. That's what's crazy about this stuff.
Did America and the world make a mistake by slowing down, going to the moon and to other planets? Was that a mistake on our part? I mean, don't we have so many scientific and innovative breakthroughs every time we go?
Well, I think we'll have tremendous breakthroughs if we
well, when we establish a city or a base and then a city on Mars.
So first, listen to how Musk talks about when he's like, if we build. Oh, I mean, when we build. Listen again.
Well, I think we'll have tremendous breakthroughs when we establish a city or a base and then a city on Mars, because we'll have to overcome so many challenges that it'll serve as a forcing function for the development of new technologies.
So the thing about this, and it relates to the AI's thing, is if you keep the population uneducated, right? If they don't understand any of this stuff anyway, they're just like, oh, well, Elon Musk is rich and he's got a shiny jacket. And one of the things I really appreciate about having you in the community is you guys are old enough and experienced enough to see through the BS, right? I'm not, and I want to make this really clear, I'm not against technology. In fact, I'm pro-technology, pro-education, and I want people to understand sort of what's going on, like the discussion here. The whole Mars thing is a complete waste of time of sending people there. Like, we actually have the technology, if we're going to send stuff, just send rovers, robots, etc. It's a lot safer. You don't have to worry about life support of humans or radiation or any sort of gravity concerns. And then this Musk stuff is always like, oh yeah, we have to put 1 million people there. But like, if you're so concerned about advancement of humans, you should be pushing for education of all humans and like bettering life here on this planet. This is a very, very simple way to talk about it is, if you really could build the technology to go to Mars and have a city there, prove it here first and start solving all of our problems here, be it, in Arizona or the Antarctic, etc. So it's easy to pick holes in this stuff, but most of the reporting and stuff you'll see in media or whatever don't really push back on these people. They're just like, well, my boss said they got a bunch of money and it's time to hype them up. But let's have some more discussion. So again, we got to talk about jobs.
We understand it, you can't see it, but we formulate it into what is effectively intelligence. And you could use it to discover new drugs. You could use it to accelerate diagnostics of diagnosis of disease. And of course, the work that you're talking about, white collar jobs, everybody's jobs will be different going forward. Many work that we do, a lot of work that we do will be automated. It's going to create new work. It's going to create new jobs. And so I would say that some jobs will not be necessary. Some jobs will be created. But the net overall is this.
So he literally said some jobs are going to be gone. Basically, some jobs will not be necessary. Some jobs will be created. But I think the overall net gain, and I'm saying even if this stuff works, right? And there's already a replacement. You guys know this stuff of like customer service. I always mention that one. It's the big one. Whenever I go to websites, like these days, it's definitely a chatbot, right? That's all been replaced. There was recent headlines that someone was using an AI voice thing to mimic the voice of Marco Rubio and like was calling people around trying to fool people. So certainly that technology exists. Already, if you watch YouTube, there's plenty of AI videos out there. Like literally it's like an AI speaker, etc. So I personally think though that humans are still going to need human interaction, and the idea that we're going to only interact with robots, I think there's a lot of social problems going forward with that. Is already a big problem, say in the USA and many countries, is actually loneliness. People just feel lonely. And that's kind of a sad thing to think that like people, want to have AI companions, like for reals. I was here in Korea, there was an article I saw it just yesterday where they're saying people go to internet cafes to hang out with their AI boyfriend. It's like, what the heck is this? But that's the world that we live in. And
it is well understood historically that productivity gains comes along with it new jobs. And in the last 30, 40 years, when the computer industry drove a level of productivity.
And it is true, right? Robots, automation definitely replace a lot of people. You guys know this. We become more productive, but then there's a lot of people that get left behind. And then, as we've seen in our politics these days, they vote for Trump. Right? Trump promises them all the jobs back. That's why I want to show you like it's all a scam that Trump's running, because he's partnering up with these, the Musks and the Wongs and saying like, hey, all your jobs are going to come back. But if you actually listen to them, no, your jobs aren't coming back, right? Like literally the whole hype of all the investment that Trump promises is based on building all these AI data centers and AI factories. That's why it's all a scam.
When we talked, you had actually brought up an app called Perplexity.
Oh my gosh.
Which I immediately began using. It is extraordinary. I will say though,
so that's where it's like feels like a commercial. Oh my God, the AI is so awesome. It's so great.
I want to ask one more question about the job losses that will happen in light of AI. Obviously, there's a lot of good that is being created out of this incredible technology, and we can talk about that. But I think it's going to hit like a tsunami if it isn't already, in terms of the types of jobs that will be eliminated because of what this technology can do, especially for younger workers or people starting out for those lower level jobs.
So actually, she brings up a good point. It was reported recently that a lot of companies are not hiring fresh college grads. They're using AI to replace those kind of things. Like they don't, need young people anymore. And so then it's going to be really hard for young people come out of college to get sort of that entry level experience if AI do replace these things. Like I said, guys, we got a major social problem coming up, and I just wanted to point this stuff out because I understand the market hype for it, but the ramifications if no one has a job, then like how are we going to buy said products that you're trying to sell us?
There's just not going to be a need for them. And I'm curious what you think about the companies like Nvidia and others that create these incredible gains in our technology and our ability to do good. Should they also invest in the economy and help those who have had jobs that are eliminated in some way? Is there some...
Certainly a good question, right? And, this is something that was reported this week where Amazon is like, I think they got like 1 million robots over there and effectively going to have more robots than humans. Even Jassy, the CEO, was basically saying you better get with the program with AI or you're out, and was encouraging people to, take jobs in training AI to replace people. Like, do you guys see where this is going? It is, here's another way to think about it. With the Republican policies in place with Trump, which is basically tax cuts for the wealthy so they can invest in all their AI and build more AI factories to replace you, and then essentially cuts to services that help effectively poor people, you're going to get a major divide between rich and poor, and it's going to be further escalated through all this investment in AI. So that's why I'm calling this stuff out. I just don't want you to think that you're alone. If you see what's happening, I see what's happening, and that's sort of where we're going.
One of the things that we need more than anything right now is we need to celebrate skill craft workers. We've moved away from industrialization and manufacturing for so long that there's a void for the ability to manufacture things, make things with our hands, build factories, manufacturing things. And so I really love the fact that at the moment we're reindustrializing the United States, we're building AI factories. These AI factories need skilled craft. We need to go back and make sure that the trade schools are really well invested in, that we celebrate this entire
I'm not
industry.
against trade schools. I'll make that clear, right? I think there's a lot of really useful jobs that hopefully won't go away. But if you just listen to what Jensen is saying, he's like, hey guys, we need all these skilled people to work in my AI chip factory to build this technology to replace you. and he makes a living doing this stuff. So that's why his job as a CEO is to convince you that everyone needs to buy AI chips and we all need to replace workers. That's why I encourage you guys to watch these older videos when they're talking about the money, theoretically pouring in. If you understand that Trump, again, this is all a TV show for them. He needs to brag about that they're creating lots of jobs, which again is true, building the factories, but actually working in said things, it's not going to be as many as you think they're going to be, because a lot of this stuff is going to be automated anyway, automated to make more automated stuff. And then you have Tesla and Musk, they're trying to do the same kind of stuff. Tesla has applied to Arizona, so I guess we're going to try to spread robotaxi joy to Arizona. And if you don't know, you can follow this story, you can follow my older videos on that. But basically, Tesla's robotaxi is not nearly as good as they're trying to hype it up to be. Basically, there's still a person in the car. It's still level 2. It has a lot of problems, unsafe. And who's actually calling for robotaxis? Are you? Are you sitting at home going, man, I just really want a robotaxi? Are you sitting at home saying, wow, I really want Elon Musk Grok to be in my car? I want robots and AI to control everything. And you guys see the danger of this stuff, right? I mean, anyone who has watched any science fiction movie, right, the last century, if you saw Terminator, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Is that the world that we want? And even if we don't go to the Terminator world, I don't necessarily want cars that can be easily hacked or remotely controlled. And I don't say that lightly, because even just today I was seeing that Europe was saying we're going to start having fighter jets with no people in it, which is effectively big drones, in a couple of years. So I think there's real dangers coming on with this stuff. I don't mean to scare you nonstop. I'm just telling you the practicality of these things, that the questions we should be asking, because much of our markets, again, is driven by these things. Like, listen to Elon Musk talk about this.
Tesla's also creating a humanoid robot, Optimus, which will be like
which I think everyone is going to want. Because it'll be like, who wouldn't want their own personal R2D2 C3PO robot buddy? Will help you do anything you want to do. I think so. I think that's going to be a massive product.
So right, again, it's a massive product. What Elon Musk says, both Musk and Jensen Huang, their job is basically to hype you up, to convince you we're all going to buy these things and you're all going to be rich. But just think about this. Do you want a robot buddy? Do you want a robot to replace your friends? That's what we're talking about. Do you want robots to, work all the jobs? And like, what are we going to do? And I wish more people would talk about this stuff. I know when I mention these kind of topics, it's not fun. People are like, oh, Chris, you're so dumb. All the other channels, all on TV and all on YouTube, all tell me that robots are the most awesome thing. AI is the most awesome thing, and they're going to make me rich. And in fact, you can make tons of YouTube content like on how you can get rich with AI. It's all over the place, right? You can do videos, you can code, you can do any number of things, design, whatever. And this is the thing that I keep telling you guys is that the way to stand out, though, however, in going into this future is going to be more human, because all the AI stuff is going to end up being copies of each other. And so I get it. I get it more than you know. I understand that I sound different than other people is because I still think where most people that you'll see out there on the internet, they're just a bunch of young kids who've never actually had a real job, and they just copy what everyone else does because that's what's popular. But it's not a great formula for success. That's my feelings on this stuff. And if you want to, think about just more the investing aspect of it, the safest way to be in this stuff is just, buy the index fund, generally speaking, because some years, some industries will be higher, other years, other industries will be higher. And, if you ensure that you're diversified and stuff, you'll at least ride the gains of the market and not have to stress out about when's this bubble going to pop. But ultimately, though, I think it is going to pop with the power generation problems, the social problems, and all of the job losses. It's just unsustainable. So that's my thoughts with this. I want to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.